go.
Seth, welcome to the Beyond Tax Season podcast. This is our second take, and so it's going to be a lot better than the first one. So, for our audience that is that firm that either is right at a million or wants to be right at a million and knows that there's a way to do it where they can have their life as well as grow the firm on their way to 2 million. Uh, your background and working closely with the profession, the industry, whatever we're going to call it, of as an editor, as a writer, as a commentator, as an observer, gives you a really neat, unique perspective. So, before we get into the topic of the day, please do a better job of introducing yourself than I did.
That was great, my friend. So yeah, for those who don't know me, maybe have seen my face around, or perhaps my byline somewhere, heard my name, don't really know the whole picture. My name is Seth Fineberg. My career is as an editor and journalist for over 30 years, covering all aspects of business. I happen to have spent the majority of that time actually overseeing the accounting profession. Um, I've been referring to it as the profession because, this is, you all deliver professional services. And, I think of industry as, you're producing, little products and things that people can buy and what have you. Although they do buy some peace of mind from you. Um, I was an editor at Accounting Today for the U.S. team at Accounting Web. I've helped create public events, and I've really seen a lot of the evolution of this space over the last 3 decades or so.
But
And I've, yeah,
let's jump in there because you
sure.
also shared that you were part of the team either building or promoting Accountants World.
Accountants World. Um, Accountants World, the company.
Yeah, so no, it's not you. We'll get Ace
I
to.
know them very, very well. And I remember when, they finally got acquired years ago. But yeah, they were an interesting company. They really were among the first that I ever heard of that was doing things via browser and not an installed product.
Yeah, okay. Well,
So browser
you're,
based, but
you're 30 years. I mean, that's a long.
over there, yeah, I mean, just doing, journalism and things like this, but accounting has definitely taken over a lot of that. And I find myself these days being in more of a, well, how do I serve the profession these days? I don't have a particular, publication that I'm working for. So I tend to work with a lot of the businesses and service providers that are trying to have better connections to the accounting community, whether they are selling to them or through them. I feel that through good content, meaningful, purposeful content, that gap can get bridged. So I do content creation, I do content strategy, and a bit of PR, where needed to just kind of get some lift to brands. I enjoy working behind the scenes, but I also enjoy speaking about these things too. So occasionally
Well,
you'll find me on.
let's dive right there
Sure.
because we're not dissimilar there. That I'm attempting to help them message themselves as well as develop my own message. Uh, what are you finding is working that gets their attention today? Because there's so much going on. What what
There's a lot.
what is that million to $2 million firm owner experiencing that you can help them with?
Look, accountants right now, yeah, you're absolutely right. There is a lot of noise. And but I also see and have seen for years that accountants really do consume an inordinate amount of content. But that content, for it to really resonate, it has to be practical, useful. It has to speak to a lot of the issues that they are facing now with growth, with staffing, with new service areas, and just getting your head around how technology is ultimately going to serve them rather than, this narrative of taking over things. You got to sort of clear the dust away and really, hit at the heart of what's going to work. And that's why I like seeing some of these discussions that are happening around um, tech stacks, around practice management, around really what AI and modern technology can do versus, you know, any other sort of narrative that's, taking things away per se.
So
So you kind of get what I'm saying.
no,
It's
no, I absolutely do. And I was in I host a small group discussion of with my current and former clients. And last week we tripped over all the various CRMs. We tripped over AI as a training tool. We tripped over, and it was interesting there was diversification of age, polite way to say it. Okay. So, and that age span was 30 years. And the folks that were closer to the younger end of that age span were popping up names of softwares that they'd tried, they discounted, they'd heard about, and they'd also put in and taken out, uh, which to me is mind boggling that you can take something as uh, hard to implement as a canopy, as a tax dome, as a carbon, and even consider changing it because of the investment it takes to get them in place.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reluctance to do that, but it's like any relationship. You have to recognize when it's not working and that it's not going to get better, and better to kind of cut your losses, so to speak, and really have people on board who can help with that transition from other systems. Um,
You trip you have so much to say and you trip over something. So let's without besmirching your livelihood and I'm going to use the word commenting on those three platforms I just mentioned, which are the
sure.
lead platforms, because we got to be careful, right? Because if you say this about that or this that about this, and one of those vendors hears it and it gets in the magazine that you know whatever they call
Yeah.
the advertising department, we're pulling all our ads. So without endangering your
Yeah.
livelihood, can you give our audience any type of overview of where you're seeing the developing and leapfrogging of, for example, one of the participants in this community that I burgeoning, just beginning, very small, said something about Zero that just caught me totally flat-footed. That they haven't innovated since 2006 or 16 or something, which seems strange to me that someone that was considering themselves to be.
Sounds like they might need to kind of rediscover. And some of that's just a PR issue, maybe on their part. But I know that company and many others who maybe they're not doing as good of a job really touting, or their advocates aren't doing a good enough job touting what's really going on. Sometimes people, again, there's just too much going on. They're just like, I don't know, I just haven't heard from them. And so it's it, yeah, it's not something that is from my point of view entirely accurate. I believe that Zero and many others have innovated and continue to. We just don't necessarily hear about these things as loud. It depends what circles you're traveling in. I don't know. You might already have a determined outlook or view
So
on
let
on
me
them.
put words in your mouth. Your response to
Hmm.
that person might have been
Take another look.
exactly, exactly.
Take another look. I guess that's the long and short. Yeah, short, long and story short. So, look, we could go down the rabbit hole of what certain companies do well and what they don't. I, of course, have my opinions, but all those things, they don't necessarily help. Because I'm not using them. I'm an observer. I have, as you said at the beginning, I have perspective. That's the value of me, is my perspective on things, because maybe I'm not in it as much. I'm not trying out these systems. I'm not running $1 million firm and trying to get to do. I do speak with them, and I do speak to the companies who are trying to serve them. So I think that's my perspective. And from my perspective, I think that if you're feeling like something's not working for you, or you just don't know enough, you got to take a leap. You got to take a dive in. I know some of the folks that you had mentioned, I can say, do a pretty exceptional job on putting content out there that matters, that really does move the needle. And their brand is getting lift because of that. They're getting attention in the community of accounting because they're putting uh, webinars, white papers, ebooks, playbooks, what have you, great articles out there that are of use. And I fully believe in that. And that's what's going to ultimately get an accounting firm leader to go, you know what? I would like to have a further conversation with you because we're struggling with this particular thing
Well,
right now.
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What are they struggling with?
So, well, one of them you actually mentioned, some of them, as you grow, and as you're looking to grow, you have things in place that maybe aren't working for your team, you and your team so much anymore. And so the old phrase of growing pains, that's a reality when you have to change systems, or maybe you haven't been uh you know taught enough about what you're on to maybe use it to its full capacity. Maybe you need to kind of really take a deeper dive in to what you have. But when you're so reliant on systems and the things that they're supposed to work with to do your job and to serve your clients and to just run your your business. I mean, your firm is a business. You know, that's a really hard existential question that a lot of firms are coming to now. If you are trying to go from 1 to 2 or even 2 to 10, wherever your growth path is, um, you're faced with these decisions, and that can be scary and painful and all these negative things until it's not, until you connect with your network of people or a network of people that um, have done it, have gone through it before, or you start rediscovering really what's out there that can be better for you
So
and your growth path.
we're talking about, and I'm parroting. I love to read books and parrot them, and then
Hmm.
bring it to people because it's knowledge from
Great. Got
on.
to share what you know.
Yeah. So Greg Crabtree quotes somebody else in his book, Simple Numbers 2.0, as revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash flow is king. So let's attack the second one. So the firms might be trying to grow from something to 1 million, or 1 million to 2, or 2 to 10. But
If that's your path,
let's
then
take the
yeah.
next one. How do you find they grow their profitability?
Well, again, I think that the first step is really starting to look at your firm as a business. If you really step back and look, you're in the business of helping other firms, achieve other businesses, your clients, um, achieve their financial goals. It's time to start, if you haven't already, it's time to start looking at your own in a way that you would look at it, picture yourself as the client. First and foremost, really step back, look at your own financials, look at your own cash flow, look at the things that, from a tax planning, business planning point of view, and figure out how to structure it the right way. I know some folks have gone down the path of educating themselves about profit first. If you don't know it, if you've heard of it, please, I urge you, look into that methodology as a possibility for just your own, for your own business sense, for your own, maybe this is a path. It's just a path. It's not the path. So profit first, but also just that simple act of stepping back and really starting to structure your business and looking at it from that perspective. And then you start to look at your own, productivity issues, things that could be getting in the way. What are you spending the most time on in a given week? Um, Starting to do these things, particularly now when maybe you have, or you can block out a little time before things maybe get a bit comparatively busier for you. Now is really the time to start doing these kind of assessment meetings.
And now we should give this a date. In other words, you're talking about the summer that
Hmm.
the I when I first started,
Generally speaking.
yeah, when I first started coaching accounting firms, I named it two things: the hamster wheel of compliance and the
Yep.
roller coaster of cash flow. So
Yeah,
you're that hamster wheel of compliance is no longer spinning as fast,
not as fast.
and you've got that lump of cash flow. So now you're in the summer and you took a breath. You say, okay, what do my clients need? Uh-oh, here comes the mini tax season all over again. And I hope we have enough cash to make it through. The,
Yeah, I mean, you depend on that. I get that. And, I tend to preach value over volume. And if you're not leaning into that, really, really earning your keep rather than looking at how many clients do I have to serve in order to keep hitting payroll and keep, my firm going. And my guess is if you're already at around a million or so, you've probably started to figure that out. You've gotten to that point. I know these are numbers at the end of the day. They need to mean enough for you to get to that point of what does it bring you and your staff. You've all invested in this thing called your firm, your business. Um, is that enough? Is that enough to allow you this balance between life and work?
well,
And I continue to call it life work balance because life
yeah,
has to come first. What are you getting from it?
let me jump in because from the outside looking in, having not become a CPA, had the CPA training, didn't sit for the exam, and
Mhm.
now working closely with CPAs, what I'm noticing and gleaning from my past comments or the past comments they've made is that they've essentially habituated themselves, their family, and their clients to this cycle. And
Yeah.
it really is amazingly, to me, unfair to the business clients. Not so much that just once a year do my tax return clients, that you disappear for 105 days a year. It's tax season, and everybody's supposed to accept that as okay. That model, now that we are running into commoditization of preparing the tax returns and chewing up at the bottom by Intuit stealing those clients, a lot of people are like a boiled frog. The
Yeah.
temperature was gently turned up, and all of a sudden they say, "I don't like it here," but they're dead. They can't jump out. Not like you throw
Yeah,
a live frog into
you
boiling water.
can't
Out.
jump out because you're dead or on your way to it, and things just happened around you, and You didn't move.
So
Yeah.
how do we help the folks realize they're habituated, realize there's a path, and also that it's kind of fun to,
Yeah.
to make this
Well,
transition?
there's a couple of things that you can do. For one thing is connect with your community. There are any number of ways to do that. Via social media, or local or national live events. Get out and speak to other firm owners, people who are, or firm decision makers, people who are already in your position, and start exchanging ideas. Be vulnerable, be
Well, let's
open to
yeah, let's
share.
let's one of my tenets of this podcast is that we give real meat. So go ahead and
Yeah,
run the list from scaling new heights to PASPA to,
sure.
because you speak at them, or
I
people are learning.
do, or if I'm not speaking, in some cases I've been a part of helping to organize them. I've been just an advisor behind the scenes, or I'm just there. I'm present to listen, to be a part of these conversations that happen that are of value. And that's why I can say to you, it's not just
I-
fluff.
I've got the benefit. What I want you to do is give me a list of 10 with no ranking order. And I bet you'll run out of gas at 8 or 9, but that's okay. Let's be specific.
It really depends on uh, what you are going for, what you actually want. I would highly recommend Accounting Today's Firm Growth Forum
Okay.
for
That's one.
one. Um, for some of you, perhaps scaling new heights is a good way. I think it's probably one of the better sort of expos on
Mhm.
the market, if not one of the only ones that really, if you're just kind of looking to connect with other, it's predominantly bookkeeper centric.
Hmm.
But there's some tax firms there too. Um, what is there is on display is pretty much A to Z your possibly your next tech stack. It's any solution that you've heard of, not heard of, under the sun tends to gather there. It's a great way to kick the tires on
That,
some new
that's
stuff
two. That's two. We're trying
too.
to get to 10.
Engage, I think, for, maybe for some larger networking to really get a variety of perspectives on things. Like it's the largest conference. It can get dicey, with
Who's the
where to
sponsor?
go, who to talk to. I wouldn't get too sucked into too many sessions, but you can cover off obviously a lot of CPE and the social networking that tends to happen there.
Is that
Um,
AICPA?
yes, AICPA's Engage.
That's three. I got to keep you
Indeed.
moving. What?
Indeed. Okay. Oh, we're doing rapid fire here. Well, the one I just got back from, too, and I'm still buzzing from, is Trimeric Group's Bridging the Gap.
Okay. Great. Great. I'm sure you
That's
can wax
another good
eloquent
one.
on. Come back. We're 5.
Reframe is another one, by the Garcia brothers.
Okay.
They do that sort of in I think it's like September, October time frame.
Garcia, is he the one famous for the three-prong pricing?
Right tool. Yeah, three-prong
Right.
pricing. And they also are in the inventors of right tool. So if you're in sort of the QuickBooks universe, if you don't know right tool, absolutely get to know right tool. It's not going to be marketing, their
I
particular
know this
product,
isn't
but their conference though.
this is not an ad for anybody. This is
Yeah, yeah.
people find
I'm just
something.
saying, just from a recognition point of view, you might have heard of them,
Hey,
but
give me
they have a conference.
looking for number 6.
GrowCon, that is Universal Accounting. That's my buddy Roger Knecht.
Okay.
Uh,
Let's get we're on a roll, man. 7.
7, this is going to be, I'm just going to kind of lump things in here. if I would say lean into some of the vendors that you might be using, find out if they have their own live events like
That's great.
Carbon, Canopy, CCH, Intuit, Zero, whatever platform you might be on, Thompson, all of these guys, they have their own industry events.
Yep.
Zero is in the US, they're every other year, or even get out to some of the road shows. It's a good way to kind of, again, network with some of your colleagues and
I
really
got it.
get to
Got it.
talk to some of their colleagues too.
Got it. 8.
Yeah, so that's kind of gonna lump that together. Um, Digital CPA I like. That's another AI CPA, CPA.com
Okay.
event that
Excellent.
they do
9.
uh, each year. Um,
I'll help you.
I Yeah, yeah, of course, PASBA and or NAEA, if you're an enrolled agent, they continue to put on,
How about
things that are just
NA,
just
what's
for you.
NATP?
Pardon?
NATP. Do they have a show?
They do.
Okay.
And a
Let's
lot, a
do the
lot of the CPA and accountant, networks, they have some of their own too. Like if you're part of the BDO Alliance or Aprio or any number of the other alliances that tend to be out there.
right.
Um,
I think we're at 10. 7
yeah,
was road shows of vendors. 8 was
road
past.
shows or even some of the national events that they do. Like
Got
if
it.
you don't want to travel to one could be coming to you.
Got it. 9 was PASMA.
Hmm.
What's our last one? Let's squeeze out another one.
Did we say NAEA? I think
You
they're
did
another.
NAEA, very good, with National Association of Enrolled Agents. And now we got to 11 now, the National Association of Tax Preparers or
That
Planners.
big? Yep, yep. Hmm.
Uh, so I think, Seth, the main message is
Find
get,
your people. Find out what is going to get you not only forget about the continued learning. The learning that is really going to be of value to you is from other leaders,
got
other
it.
people going through exactly what you're going through.
I think that's excellent advice. Uh,
Thank you.
and we tripped
As
in.
I've seen it. I've seen it for years, like the aha moment literally happening. It's a great thing to observe.
Excellent, excellent. So given where we are in the year with the
Mm.
advent of AI, and I don't mean to beat this drum that everybody's now learned that AI are kind of what it is, but the
Oh, I think we're just starting, my friend.
it's crazy. I mean, if you go back and read Ray Kurzweil, The Singularity is Near. I mean, I think that's a
Mhm.
40-year-old book now,
It
and
is.
and he and a number of other people uh, or gave that geometric growth curve of change. And after a while, geometric growth goes vertical. And then you've got humans that don't change that fast, but yet they have to.
Yeah.
So, how do we help those folks that want to have a valuable firm, want to have a better life, want to achieve their dreams? How do we help them take that first step?
Lean in. I mean, we were talking about, talking to your other colleagues. I mean, over the years, I've never seen anything move the needle more than collective conscious. Getting that feedback, getting the reassurance from your own colleagues, people who have gone through this before. And I'm not saying they've run the exact firm as you. That's not the point. The point is that they're still building something. Um, of value and they realized when enough was enough for them or they realized that they needed to kind of make some adjustment or adjustments or they were just going to stagnate and the hope of your succession plan can't just be, well, someone will just buy this from me one day. What are you building? of value. I'm sorry to get all direct about it, but you have to look your own self in the mirror at the end of the day. You've built this thing or you've helped build it. Where do you want it to go? How do you want to get there? And though let those kind of things guide you. Because, as it's been said many times before, the pace of change right now is never going to be slower, or the pace of change is not going to be slower than it is right now. It's
Pace of
just,
the pace of
you
change is
can't,
always increasing.
exactly. So it's never going to be slower than it is right now.
So let's rumble around here at the end looking for some like really great capstone thing that we'll say, and Ace will cut
Hmm.
it up and deliver it, because I can already see what he's going to do with the one, two, three. He's gonna chop it up. We're gonna have 10 opportunity, 10
The sound bites.
alternatives. So I understand the event, the need for action, get out and meet your peers and catch,
However, it can happen.
right. Now let's talk about who's going to fail because they either don't have the desire to change. Because I'm seeing it. I'm cheek by jowl with a firm that uh, woke up with 4 people retiring from a 7-person team, with one of them being
And no succession plan in place, I'm gathering.
no, they were actually going to shut the doors December
Yeah.
31st, send a letter, because having just visited them in where the because my client bought the firm as a acquisition growth plan. Having just visited them, the that they had to know it was coming, right? It's no secret that each year we get a little older. Each year we have different things that we want to do with our lives, but yet they still didn't have a plan. As
Yeah.
good as it was, but how do we let the people know that are going to succeed? I think we have done that. We've talked to those people. How do we let the people know that you're not going to succeed and accept it? Or if you really are honest with yourself and you say that's not going to happen to me, uh, who are the people right now that are going to get caught blindsided?
I think you just kind of detailed it right there. It's the folks that just really put things off. Didn't really, it's like, what if you're not there yet and you want to avoid that, just what we said at the beginning, just take a pause, like really put time. If it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done. So actually schedule that time in, whether it's just a meeting with, depending how your leadership structure is, it could be yourself, it could be, someone else in your firm that you trust. It could be, if you have a very small firm, it could be a team meeting. Um, but take that time and just say, you know, where are we at right now? Where do we want
And,
to be?
and
What are the things holding you up from getting from this point to this point? What have we built here? Because you mentioned that this the firm you're referring to was part of an acquisition. What did that other firm actually buy? Like, what was of value there?
well,
And you
I
can't just
can't,
tell me, oh, it was client list. Like,
I can't get too detailed, but
no, I'm just saying in general, like
no, no,
really,
I no,
anecdotally, like what did they buy? And
they
you
they
have to look at yourselves.
they paid for more than they got. Let's say it that way.
So you're in a position now. You're in a position now to really, finally take the reins. Forget about how long you might have put it off. Forget about where, even what last year was. Look at where you're at right now. And I remember using, when talking about business planning, oh, what's our 10-year plan, our 10-year plan? That is, with the pace that businesses are going at now, it's very, it's good to have sort of that in a very grand view, but in terms of real planning, you got to look at like maybe 18 to 24 months at a block of time and say, how are we going to get to there? What are the things we need to do?
Mhm.
Um, it could be, something that, you're looking at your client base, you're looking at the systems that you're on, you're looking at your processes, you're looking at how you're billing,
You know what?
whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. Let's. You were doing such a great wrap up, and I know it's gonna be hard, but let's. You do you remember where you were? You said wherever you are, make it make a decision. It a shorter term, uh, something like that, and then let's wrap
Short
up.
term, yeah. So yeah.
I want to
So
say,
start with what is actually achievable. If you set these kind of shorter term goals on the path to the bigger picture, you're gonna get there. You're gonna set yourself up for success. Just even by recognizing that, hey, what we're doing might be good, but is it enough for where we are? If it is truly enough, and I guarantee you, I would say for the majority of you, it probably isn't. There's probably a small percentage are like, yeah, we're good. Where we're at. We're happy to cash out in the next or lock the door and whatever in the next couple of years, and that's fine. But for the majority of you, I'm willing to guess that that's not the case. So start now, start today, maybe even next week, whatever it is.
first step.
First step is actually schedule it in, schedule that meeting. Say, let's talk about our growth. Where are we at now? Put it on everyone's calendar to be, 1 hour conversation to start with, but
Got
saying from now forward, we are going to have these regular check-ins on where are we at, where are we going, start assigning tasks if you need to,
it.
whether it's,
So
you're going out and checking out new systems or,
let,
whatever it is.
but let's distill that to put it
Hmm.
on the calendar. And
Schedule it in.
the two seminal questions: where are we now, and where are we going? In
Where do
either
we want,
order,
where do we want to be?
where do we want to go? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
where do we want to go? Like,
the big thing is recognize that the future's coming, and you're going to be part of it, hopefully, and make the decision to ask the question. We don't know what change might come from it, but ask yourself those two questions in whichever order. Where are we now, and where do we want to go?
exactly. And all of that trial is about taking control. Make it happen
Got it.
so it doesn't just happen to you.
Perfect. That's a wrap. Seth, thanks so much. That perspective from way outside, but you're inside and outside at the same
I'm
time.
out here.
That's very, very helpful. Thanks very much for being on this episode of Beyond the Tax Season.
Thank you so much, my friend. I hope that this recorded well, and
It'll give Ace enough to chop up and make either contiguous or even little
I just want to give you enough material.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So have you been in the trenches with any one firm and seen what was said that jogged them to actually make transition?
Yeah, I've sat at like I've sat at when some of these events where an entire firm or at least their decision makers will be at a table, and we've had these roundtable discussions,
Hmm.
and they were like, I didn't expect these questions to come up. I thought we were just here to kind of network and maybe hear I like hearing from these speakers, but you know when you can return with an aha moment, or a soul searching moment. And people are going, we've got to go back and do work. That's a great thing to see. And I've seen it. I've been part of those discussions where people were just like, didn't expect to be talking about these things. And now they are. And it's okay to be vulnerable. I just wrote a whole piece about just how vulnerability is valuable in accounting. You have to be
But that's
open
that,
to
that's
these
already
things.
becoming an overused term. What
It
specifically
is.
do you
It
mean
is,
vulnerable?
but it's a good beginning.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.